Now, one of the most difficult things about rosacea is finding skincare that works for you and not against you. So often the wrong thing can be the actual cause of a flare. So today's video is all about giving you that essential toolkit so that you have all the right ingredients in your skincare routine to help you tame the flames of rosacea. Now, make sure you stay right to the very end because I'll be sharing my favorite ingredient last. So the first ingredients I want to talk about are in fact SPF filters, because in my mind, there is no skincare routine for rosacea that isn't underpinned by effective sun protection. And that's because of the huge role that UVA plays in rosacea and potentially triggering disease. So when it comes to rosacea, I am a fan of mineral filters, meaning zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. They just tend to do a better job. Less irritating, great coverage, and as a bonus, I think that the right mineral sunscreen can actually really brighten the skin, helping mask redness and serving as a great base for makeup. Now, I'm really dependent on Gossamer Tint 1 for that reason. Not only does it allow me to have the odd day where I don't wear any makeup at all, bar a little bit of concealer under my eyes because it evens out my complexion, masking a little bit of that redness, but also just delivering a really kind of glass skin glow. And that's because of the way zinc and titanium look on the skin. There's a reason why titanium dioxide is a component of many foundations, but great for sensitive skin, great post-procedure as well. This is the kind of sunscreen we use after laser treatments and the like. And really, I think, a foundation when it comes to treating rosacea. So when it comes to active rosacea, the topical ingredient I find most helpful nowadays is actually something called ivermectin or Soolantra on prescription, something you'd have to get through your GP or dermatologist. I just find it to be the most helpful thing when someone is undergoing a spotty flare, so a flare in the pustular phase. Tends to be the thing that brings it under control most effectively. And I also really like how it's formulated. The base of this particular active is really soothing and kind and generally well tolerated in rosacea-prone skin. So I will typically use that at night to calm a flare, sometimes in conjunction with oral antibiotics. And over time, typically, I will transition from using Soolantra, maybe after 6 weeks, maybe after 12, into using something else that is more about disease prevention. So Soolantra, I reserve for the active spotty flares. Then coming on to more traditionally anti-inflammatory ingredients that we use in skincare, niacinamide is something that I like a lot in those who are rosacea prone. Now, it's often found in moisturizers like in our Flawless Moisturizer. It's present at 5%, just as it's in Revival Mask at 10%. And I do think it's worth considering as an active and not just a moisturizing ingredient. Somebody actually made this point in one of our testimonials on the website. I thought, it's a good point. I think it can easily get sort of lumped in with other ingredients like ceramides, but in its own right, niacinamide is an active. Not only does it help support barrier function, increasing skin's own production of ceramides, but it also helps stimulate collagen production. It helps improve hyperpigmentation, and it's anti-inflammatory, so therefore potentially helpful with active papules and pustules in its own right. But just like any active, it can be something that causes irritation. So always introduce new active ingredients, even if they're in a moisturizer, with care. But typically, those who've got redness-prone skin find this to be really helpful. Then we come on to retinoids, which can be a tricky topic in context of rosacea. However, when the timing is right, I think they are profoundly useful. So the timing is not right if you're having an active inflammatory flare. The timing is worth considering if things are calm and we're really just looking to increase the density of the dermis, which is something that I think, given that we know that rosacea occurs in light-eyed, light-skinned individuals who are potentially exposed to UVA as a consequence of, everyday life, I think it's really important to think about this as part of a holistic approach to managing rosacea. So timing has to be right. The ingredient type has to be right. So I'm not talking about going full tilt with tretinoin 0.05%. I'm talking about dipping your toe in the water when things are calm to see if your skin will get on board. Now, in the non-prescription space, that might be something like Granactive retinoid or retinaldehyde. And on the prescription side of things, I often use adapalene or differin cream, not gel, to test the waters to see if somebody is actually going to respond. And when people do respond, they respond well. I mean, as somebody with erythemotelangic, I can't even say it today, erythemotelangiectatic rosacea myself, I have definitely had to tread carefully when it comes to using a retinoid in my skin, but it's necessary in terms of the general health and well-being, so I'm just respectful. And then saving the best to last, azelaic acid. I don't think I can even think of a single rosacea patient who doesn't rely on azelaic acid as part of their ongoing strategy for their rosacea maintenance. And again, I count myself in that. Azelaic acid is just so helpful in rosacea because of its ability to downregulate that over-enthusiastic inflammatory response, part of what we call the innate immune system, which when it's challenged by the external environment, whether it's weather related, whether it's things that we put on it, or, whether it's triggered by the things that we ingest, azelaic acid just dials it down really nicely. And the great thing is there is now, a proliferation of azelaic acid-based products on the market. So we can get it on prescription, Finacea, Skinnerin, different percentages, but essentially delivering the same amount of ingredient into the skin. And then over the counter, we have good old Brightly Serum with 10% azelaic acid and some other active ingredients alongside it, including niacinamide. And, The Ordinary has a really affordable version too. So azelaic acid, I've talked about it at length before, but I think for the rosacea sufferer, particularly those who are concerned about staying fresh, it has additional benefits. It's good for pigmentation. It's good for texture. It's a powerful antioxidant. It's so versatile that, as I've said many times before, there has to be a really good reason for it not to be in the mix. I've not mentioned metronidazole, which it has historically been one of the antibiotic topicals that we use in rosacea. I have to say that in my practice, I have now evolved to almost exclusively using cilantro and azelaic acid in Finacea or Skinnerin format almost exclusively. I just don't tend to use metronidazole topically at all anymore, in part because the physical nature of those preparations often wasn't something that patients enjoyed using. They're often quite unpleasant in terms of the way they would layer on the skin, but I just don't find them to be as effective. But worth mentioning, because if it's something that has worked for you and you get on with the preparations available, that's Metro Gel or Rosacea cream, then absolutely fine to keep going. They are a recognized part of the treatment toolkit. So I hope by now you're starting to feel like you have a bit more control over your rosacea. You know where to turn to in terms of getting the right ingredients to tackle it. And I'm going to be doing another couple of videos in this series, so you have a really complete bank of knowledge when it comes to the nuances of dealing with rosacea, and know that I'm with you on this journey. It's something that I have, honed my kind of skincare practices over the years to ensure that I get the best possible result in terms of managing my own tendency towards rosacea. So I hope it was helpful. Please do share this content with anybody who needs to know more about dealing with rosacea, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye for now.